welcome to my channel. So today I'm out in the garden trying to do a few pots and really just getting them started. I bought a whole bunch of potting soil yesterday and I'm kind of trying to fill my containers and get them ready. But the main thing that I will be doing today is planting this Point Blue False Cypress in this big blue container here. So it's blue on blue for me for this one, and really excited to plant it in the container. I want to give it a shot in the container and see how it does. It's a rainy cold, not really cold but pleasant morning here in Toronto, and I'm really excited to do a few jobs in the garden on this rainy day. And it's nice to kind of be on my porch and kind of tackle a few of these pots and get them planted. The other thing that I will be also doing is planting this beautiful rose in this pot. So this is a George Vancouver rose. It is a zone 3 extremely hardy rose, very disease resistant, and has these beautiful cherry red blooms, which I think will look great in this planter here. So because it is a zone 3 rose, it's going to be okay in a container. So I want to give it a try. It was actually fairly inexpensive, just $10, and it has a lot of strong growth on it. And the more I've been reading about it, it's an extremely hardy Canadian rose. It's from the Explorer series, so it's got a lot of good reviews, and it's a prolific bloomer. It blooms all summer, so I'm excited about that. It starts in June and it goes on till September with several flushes of blooms. So I want to have it here in this pot and see how it does. I think it'll look really nice. The pop of red, cherry red, will look really nice. And so I'm going to get these two things planted in these containers. That's the job I'm doing this morning, and I wanted to take you along. Again, this is the Point Blue False Cypress by Proven Winners. It does get 15 feet to 20 feet tall, but if you plant it in a container, that should restrict its growth. But eventually I might plant it in my landscape. I'm just not sure where it's gonna go yet, but it does like sun or part shade, so it's pretty versatile that way. And it's a colorful year-round focal point, and it grows as a narrow column of eye-catching feathery blue foliage. So really excited. It has medium deer tolerance. Not that I have to worry about deer here, but if you do, that's what it has. And it is pretty much a foliage plant, and it's best to prune it in the spring, and it likes moist, well-drained soil. So this container here has a lot of holes at the base, so I made sure of that. And it can be a specimen plant. It can go in container or it can go in borders. So that's what I'm doing. I'm sticking this one in a container because I want to add a little bit of a focal point over here in my entrance, and then I will probably underplant it with some other plants. Not sure yet which ones, but I'm excited to get this one planted in this pot. As you can see, this pot is fairly big, and it's going to be a good home for this for at least a couple of years, I hope. So I'm going to get this one in the pot and I will show you what I'm doing. Ollie enjoying a quiet morning in the rain, and hearing the birds chirp. I love spending time with him in the mornings and doing my gardening chores. It's so nice to have him with me. It's the potting soil I am using for this planting. It is an organic potting soil, ready to use, professional mix, and it is both for interior and exterior use. And doesn't really have any list of what's in here, but I have used this in the past and it's pretty good and it's good quality. So I'm going to be using this one here in the pot. So because it's a fairly big size pot, it's going to need, I think, at least 3 or 4 bags. So I'm going to start with one at the base and see how it's going, and then put maybe another half and then place the plant and see. I don't want to plant the cypress too deep. It has to line with the top of the pots, so I have to make sure the base has enough soil. Here it is. I've taken out the plant from the container. The roots are pretty healthy. They are not pot bound, so I don't have much to do in terms of loosening the roots. So I'm just gonna lightly loosen them, and it's still a little bit, as you can see, it's still a little bit too high, so I'm going to kind of create a little bit of space down below and push it in a little bit, and then I'm going to cover it with soil and get this one planted. I am not adding any fertilizer or amendments to the soil right now, because this bag should have enough in it to sustain it for the next little while, and I can always add a fertilizer later on, maybe in a few weeks, and see how this plant is doing in this container. Happy with this position of the plant in the pot, and I'm going to now backfill this entire space with soil. I did end up loosening the roots a little bit, as you can see, so that they have a chance to spread out in the new soil, and yeah, just kind of loosen them a little bit in the base, and this plant is ready to go in its new home. So that's what I'm doing. Gonna get this one planted. As you can see, it already has a lot of fertilizer put in it, a slow release, so I don't want to add anything additional. Yeah, I tend not to over fertilize anything, so that's just the general thing I see. I mean, if the plant needs it, I'll give it, and really, because this is in a pot, it may need some help from me, so I'm going to do that, but because it's going in fresh soil, I think it should be okay. So I'm going to backfill it, and I'll show you when this is all done. So here it is. This Point Blue Cypress, False Cypress, is planted in this container, and I think it looks really nice. It's probably not right smack in the center, but I'm not worried about it because it's going to fill in as it grows. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to underplant a couple of violas. I have these beautiful violas that I picked up yesterday. Aren't they gorgeous? I love the colors on these, and they will look really nice with this lavender that I have planted here. So I'm just going to add a couple. I don't want to add too many things to the planter because you know, I want to give it time to settle in, and I think these violas will just add a little something while it's cooler in the spring, and then I can just remove them and plant them out in my garden, and hopefully they'll self-seed and come back next year for me. So I'm just going to add a couple of these in the same pot just to kind of dress it up, or I might add them somewhere else. I'm not really sure, but I think I will put them in here for now and see how it looks, and just give it a little bit of something around this cypress. So I'm going to get them in here and show you what this looks like. Here it is. This planter is all potted up. I'm going to give it some water and let this kind of fill in. The violas should actually fill in and you know, remove this gap in the front, hopefully. I love how this looks. I don't want to overcrowd the container too much, so I've added in a couple of plants in there, and I don't really need anything in the back because it's facing the wall, so it's just a couple of them added in the front, and I really like how this looks. It really looks pretty and adds a pop of color in this corner. And next I'm going to go and I'm going to plant that rose in that big container over there. So I'm going to take you along and show you what I'm doing with the rose. I don't know what the root system looks like on the rose. It may be bare root, I'm not sure. I'm going to open it up and I'm going to see what it needs. If it needs to be soaked in water, I might soak it for a little while before I plant it, so I'll take you along with that. So this rose here, when I got it out of the pot, already has a lot of roots developing, so I don't want to disturb it too much. And because it's flushing out a lot of new growth on top, I'm going to actually leave it, and I'm going to pot it in this planter, and I'm going to deeply water it and make sure it stays hydrated. And I'm going to add a little bit of rose fertilizer to this in about a week or so when I'm fertilizing all my other roses, and I will just keep it watered and take care of it in this pot. I really want it to thrive and do well in this pot, so I don't want to disturb it too much. You can see it has roots developing at the base and lots of new growth also on this rose. So I'm going to probably bury it a little bit deeper than this and cover the pot up with soil, and I'm going to give it a nice soak of water. Here it is, the rose is planted, and I'm going to give it a good soak of water. This entire container is going to go in there so it can kind of hydrate and absorb the water. And you probably don't need to water it that frequently, but I would keep an eye on it and water it at least once a week deeply, and always water rose from the base and earlier in the morning, because you don't want any water drops on the leaves, so that it stays healthy and doesn't develop any fungus or black spots. So that's it. The rose is all planted, and I wanted to thank you so much for coming along with me this morning as I get some things done in my garden and get things a little bit organized with my planters and how they are shaping up. And also I really wanted to get out here and plant this Point Blue Cypress. It was sitting in the pot for about more than a week, 2 weeks now, and the weather has been so crazy that I didn't want to do it earlier, but I kind of wanted to get it in the ground today and really enjoy how this looks on my porch. So I'm going to get some more water and put some more water in it. And with that, I wanted to thank you so much for watching this video, and give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and if you like these container ideas, do let me know. So thank you again for watching. I hope everyone has a fabulous day wherever you're joining me from.